Welcome to Midlife Moves, where we're figuring out this whole midlife thing one day, one workout, and one what the hell just happened moment at a time. I'm Heather, and if you're navigating career shifts, fitness goals, parenting teenagers, or just wondering when the hell we became the grown-ups, you're in the right place. Let's talk about the real stuff, no filters, just honest conversations and a little bit of chaos. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Heather Francis, and welcome to another episode of Midlife Moves. Today's episode is a little bit different than what we've done before. Today, I did a panel discussion with 4 women from a community that I'm involved with. I've known these women for about a year. They are all business owners. They're all building companies in spaces that aren't necessarily the obvious path, especially as a woman. We talk about leadership, intuition, decision-making, and what it looks like to build something meaningful over time. And we talk a little bit about how motherhood fits into that. This isn't a fast, polished interview. I've never done a panel discussion before, but I had a lot of fun with it. It's a real conversation, and it goes far beyond business and construction. I hope that you get as much out of it as I did, and I hope that you are as inspired by their stories as I was. Let's get into it.
Motherhood is complex. One minute you're soaking up the sweetest, most heart-melting moments with your kids, and the next you're hiding in the pantry with a fistful of chocolate, wondering if you're the only one making it all up as you go. Spoiler, we all are. I'm Scotty, a mom of 3, life coach and intuitive, who finally said, screw it. I'm done trying to do motherhood the quote right way, and I started trusting my mom tuition instead. Because the right way is whatever works for you. Momplex is where we cut through the noise, ditch the guilt, and figure out how to actually enjoy being a mom without losing ourselves in the process. I'm not here to tell you how to parent. I'm here to help you stop overthinking, stop comparing, and stop feeling like you're failing because you're actually doing so much better than you think. This is a real, unfiltered, explicit as hell mom talk that you will not get in the carpool line. So let's do this. Real convos, lots of laughs, and a whole lot of truth bombs. Welcome to Momplex. P.S. This podcast is explicit. So unless you want your kids casually dropping F-bombs at preschool, grab your earbuds, mama.
Hi, I'm Marianne Weisenthal, host of the LifeSpeak podcast, a show where we dive into real conversations about mental health, resilience, and navigating life's everyday challenges. Each episode, I sit down with leading experts in health, work, and wellness to unpack big topics like burnout, parenting, leadership, anxiety, and personal growth. My guests share their own stories of struggle and resilience, and together we keep it honest, relatable, and practical. Whether you're looking for fresh perspectives or just a moment to feel seen and supported, you'll find it on the LifeSpeak podcast.
Hey listeners, it's Heather here with a quick message before we get into the rest of the episode. I have been blown away by the level of support from you guys. I love seeing how much the topics resonate with all of you and hearing how the episodes make you feel seen. I genuinely appreciate the outpouring of support from everyone. If you've been enjoying the show, there are a few ways you can continue to support the podcast and the team behind it. If you aren't already, follow us on Instagram at the Midlife Moves Podcast. For more behind-the-scenes info on the show and our guests, check out our website, midlifemoves.co. Reviews go a long way. I'd really appreciate a rating and a review on the podcast platform of your choice. And finally, check out the merch store. It's a fantastic way to rep the podcast and help support the team that makes these episodes possible. We've got some great designs for t-shirts and totes available there. Thank you all again so much, and enjoy the rest of the episode. I am joined today by Lori Hansen, Audra Gossage, Lisa Walczak, and Emily Davis, and we are all part of a mastermind group together. We met as business owners, and so I asked them to be on the show with me to talk through, one, what it's like being a female business owner, and not just a female business owner, but also like a female business owner in this industry. So, ladies, could you introduce yourself to our listeners and give them a little bit of information about you?
My name is Audra Gossage, and I own a company called LTD Builders in Parkland, Florida. We primarily work in the South Florida market, Boca Raton and Delray Beach and the surrounding areas. And we do mostly high-end renovation work, and we work with a lot of people who are second owners and part-time owners and that kind of thing. I work with my husband, who is integral in my business and a fabulous business partner. That's us.
Awesome. Lisa?
I'm Lisa Walczak, co-owner and creative director plus of Walczak Design and Build. We are a small kind of family-led design and build construction company in the North Shore of Massachusetts. Like Audra, we also focus on high-end renovations. The majority of our clients we're renovating or building off of their primary home. We really try to produce an experience that really outweighs even the final product. Like that is the thing that we try to stand by, is that experience is not going to be that thing that you always hear nightmares about, right? That the experience is going to be even better than the final product. So love doing what we're doing. My husband is also my business partner, which makes for very long days and nights together, but it all works out.
Mm-hmm. Emily?
Hey, I'm Emily Davis, and I work as also a family business. And my sister who's talking next, it's her and I and her husband, Jack, with Hansen's Renovations. And we are in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we also do custom renovations. It's a great area. We do a lot of kitchens, baths, additions, and our favorite whole house renovations. So we are somewhat newer to the industry. We're a younger company and we've grown really fast, and it's been a wild ride, but it's a lot of fun.
And I'm Lori Hansen, Emily's sister, co-owner of Hansen's Renovations in Charlotte, North Carolina. And yeah, we are a very close family business, and every day is different. And we're really grateful for this community of our mastermind that we're in, because it's helped us grow and learn so much. It's been a really big part of our business story. So yeah, we love it. And we're excited to be here with you, Heather.
So one thing, Emily, your husband also works with you guys too.
Yes.
So all of us work with our husbands. And honestly, I don't know how I overlooked that when I was putting the outline together, because we could probably done like a whole section on just that. Okay, so we're just going to jump into it because there's a lot of us, and I want to make sure we talk about the things that are important. And the first question I'm going to have is, residential remodeling isn't a typically female centric field. What pulled you toward this industry? Lori.
So my story is very weird. I worked in digital marketing for 7 years before I started working with my husband, Jack. And he started this company in 2016 as a self-performer. And I was doing my job working from home. And I worked from home for 7 years before the COVID situation. So I hated working from home, and I stuck it out because he was starting this business and I needed to support our family. And I finally couldn't take it anymore. And I quit my job on like a Thursday, and the whole world shut down on that weekend for COVID. So I told my bosses, like, I can't work from home anymore. And so the next week they're like, are you sure you don't want to unquit? So I was like, I'm not coming back. Like, I can't do this job anymore. So everybody was regrouping and not knowing what to do. And Jack was just getting busier and busier, and he needed support, and he had so many opportunities for larger projects. So I just sort of thought to myself, I feel like I could really help him if I could get our general contractor's license, but that's just seems like the craziest thing ever. So I was out for a walk one day in my neighborhood, and we were all kind of dazed and confused at that point anyway. And I saw my neighbor and I told him what I was thinking. And he was like, that's the best idea I've ever heard. And I thought, well, if he didn't laugh at me, maybe it's not such a bad idea. So I just started to learn what it took to become a general contractor and to get licensed here in North and South Carolina. And, just went from there. And it's just been nonstop ever since, because he's excellent at what he does, but he doesn't know how to run a business. He knows how to be a contractor. And then Emily joined in. So it was needed because I have like a certain amount of organization, and then she's like extremely organized, and Jack is like the free spirited artistic one. So the three of us together is a really fun.
It works together.
Yeah, it works really well. But it was kind of a backward way that I've backed into it, but it's been awesome. So I'm happy that it worked out.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of times it's kind of off topic. The voice that you listen to, like that little nudge, is something that we don't, like as women, always listen to. So it's very cool that you did listen to it and it led you on this path. And here
I still needed like some reassurance, but
well, sure,
I was like,
no, absolutely, yeah.
When it's like sort of just like a random neighbor, and we were just talking, and I was like, I'm just going to throw this out here and see how he reacts. And it was such a positive reaction that I was like, okay, this isn't as crazy as I think it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah, thank you,
Lisa. How about you?
Somewhat similar, but obviously different. I think I know we were at a really pivotal point, like in our lives. Like I was dealing with some serious health issues. We had just had our first child. My mother was terminally ill, and I was her primary caretaker. Derek had made a change not too long before that for his own career, for more stability. I think we're all doing the things that we thought we needed to be doing. I was also in digital marketing consulting for years. I was living basically out of a plane in a suitcase. Things just weren't lining up for me, though. Things just weren't clicking. It just was not making me I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I was making money. That wasn't a problem. But I was just not happy. And then I got sick, and I had one of those moments in the middle of the night where I was just crying so hard I couldn't breathe, like on my hands and knees, and was like, I don't know what I'm praying to, or who I'm praying to, or who I'm asking for help, which is not typical something of me, but something here needs to change. And it was just like clear as day in my head, like just quit. What do you just quit? I was like, okay, anything else? You would add anything else to that? Is there a plan? And, I shared everything with, Derek the next day, and he was like, I want to quit too. He had, taken a turn in his, he went to do something a little bit more stable, was working at a local, very big hospital in Boston. Was like, I hate it. And I was like, I hate it. And we don't even like the house we're living in. And we bought this house for family members. And like, this isn't where we want to be. And, he was working with one of his friends, and they were going to be going into business and wanted to go in and start their own contracting business together. And, unfortunately, his friend actually died by suicide not long before that. And we were kind of like, what do we, like, life is so precious. What are we doing? Like, and we just decided right then and there, Derek's like, let's do it together. And I was like, all right, I don't know what that means, but we'll just drop everything right now and figure it out. And we did. I mean, we literally sold our house. We sold everything. I was like, I can't dive into this unless I have all these extra things off of my shoulders, like including family members. It was hard. It was a really hard decision to do that. I also went to my employer and was like, okay, I quit. They actually did convince me to stick around because they actually said, well, you can work from home. Don't tell anybody about this golden goose egg. We don't want to lose you. We'll have you run something else. Have a globally distributed team. Make more money. You never need to get on a plane again so you can be with your child. And you build your business while you build this for us. And we're not going to question anything. And we'll have a good run at it. And we did. And so that's kind of how it all got started for me. But my background really came from program management and digital consulting. So when I jumped in, it was all about systems and people and processes. And Derek kind of went off the other direction, and I said, like, I want to do this totally different. Like, I'm not doing, if I hear from anyone, well, that's not the way it's done. That's usually done this way. I'm going to kill that idea. I'm not doing things the way they're usually going to be done. I don't like the way things are usually done. So we just kind of just carved our own path. And I think everyone thought we were a little crazy. And I love that personally, because I hear game on. I'm like, oh, challenge accepted. That's what I hear when someone says, you're crazy, you're nuts. That's not a good idea. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, thank you for that additional fuel I needed in my tank. So that's how, it really started. And we ended up in Ipswich, the town we always wanted to move to, a small town in a much smaller house with, our debts paid off, and things just changed. We just focused on our family, like focused on our nucleus family, and what we both wanted as individuals and as partners, and kind of all the other stuff, all the other things that you feel, that extra pressure, which is why we don't listen to those nudges, right? Because you're like, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I need to be doing this. All those things we kind of pushed aside. I don't think people were very happy with that, but that's kind of, it really came out of that moment. It was like, we had a choice to make. We didn't even know the choice we had to make, but we knew that where we were in life at that moment in time was not going to work. So here we are. And I've never looked back. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Is it easy? No. Would I ever do anything else? Nope. Absolutely not.
That's a lot, Lisa.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I didn't know that whole story. So that's like right in line with, isn't that fast? Okay. I'm going to take a step back because there's a lot going on in here right now. We've got to keep this to a time limit. Was there a time that you were like, what are we doing? Like, are we out of our minds? Like,
No,
was it like that every day?
Yes. And honestly, going through COVID, so I decided to leave my full-time career and leave a very healthy salary and all of our benefits behind weeks before COVID. And then in Massachusetts, like we got shut down, everything got shut down. Schools were shut down for extended periods of time. We were homeschooling our kids I had to get I got a tutor for us full time so they could homeschool at home. I got a homeschool program set up while we were running the business. It was like bananas. People stopped. We had $1 million worth of work drop out of our pipeline in 1 week. I was like, what do I? And for probably a solid 3 years while we recovered from that, I felt like I held my breath the entire time. And every day it was just like, what am I going to do today to make today the best day, like for tomorrow? But I could only focus on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And sometimes it was like, I can only focus on 1 to 2 p.m. on Wednesday right now to get the things that I need to do right. Because thinking about it in a broader was just too scary, honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just sometimes it's just too overwhelming.
But I mean, I regularly did. But I also regularly had those moments where, where I'd freak out and then just remind myself, like, what do you want? Do you want to go back to corporate life? Is that what you want? You could go do that. Is that what, I was like, no.
And I think that there's times that when you're aligned with something and you all of those voices. So separating those voices from that gut feeling, it's like, okay, so this is just noise. Yeah. This is where I'm supposed to be. The rest is noise.
100%.
Along those lines, Emily, is there a moment that you thought like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be?
That was a good segue. I like that.
I'll tell you what, we couldn't have planned that
in. That was great. I mean, that was a great story, Lisa. And it's like, I'm thinking it took such a leap of faith, I think, for all of us to do this. And it was scary because I had a regular job before and I really, needed to make a certain amount of money. So it was scary. But once I did start, I started a year after Lori, and like she said, she brings so much to the company. I just kind of like tightened things up and kind of kept them on track a little bit. But I can remember one day that, Lori and I work in the office a lot. We don't go in the field all the time, but one day we were going to a couple of our jobs, just checking them out. And so it was like an ordinary day because I really thought about this question. We were walking through one of our remodels. It was a whole house. The space was changing a ton, but it was still kind of early on in the construction. Everything was dusty and it was not finished. And I can remember the client walked in and he was so happy and he smiled and he could see like where the space was going. And, I think it's very stressful being in this business and being an owner and trying to juggle all of the things in your head and, not making bad decisions. But in that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh, he loves it. We're doing something good for somebody. It was a smooth process for that project, but I wasn't focusing on all of the bad. I wasn't focusing on the inspection that I went to like the week before and failed. I met the inspector and I'd never done that before and we failed the inspection. So I felt horrible, but I just was like, at that moment, I was just like, this is awesome. Like I'm doing this with my sister, my family. We have each other's backs. So I didn't feel alone. And it was just fun because we're all problem solvers. And I can just remember that day and the project ended up beautiful. We had happy clients. And I think for me, it's like, I have flexibility now. The more I put into this business, the more I get out of it. And it just comes back to us as a family, as a team. So I just knew at that point that this is where I need to be right now.
Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. That's a good feeling, isn't it? I remember I love going to the projects when the clients are happy. Because
I know, right?
Well,
isn't that
the alternative is shit. Yeah. But yeah, no, what a good feeling because it's things that they like. you're becoming part of their life, right? So like you're becoming part of their story.
Oh yeah.
So, like even, like we think about like the kitchens that we build and the, things like that, the moments that they're going to have in those spaces. Like if you think about it, it's very emotional. I can totally appreciate that.
Yeah.
Audra, how about you? Same question. Is there a time that you just knew like you were exactly where you were supposed to be?
Well, I had a little bit different induction into this business because I was younger. I had it was similar, but I was like only a few years out of college when the 2008 housing market happened, and I was working for a production home builder at the time. So I lost my job. I think I was 25 and there were no jobs. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to try to renovate houses. I had gotten a general contractor license working with my previous employer. And so I had that. And I'm like, well, I have a license, what next? And a series of things fell into place that made it all work out for me. And primarily it was meeting a really special mentor who was looking for someone like me. He was looking for someone who was young and not trying to control the whole process. And I was looking for someone to teach me. And so I started working with him, flipping condos, and we did 27 condos over 2 or 3 years at that time. And so I learned a lot about how to do things and how not to do things from him. I remember we walked into a condo that I was in charge of, and he looked at the ceiling, and I had the drywall guy spray knockdown on the ceiling because that's how we did it in production home building. You knock down everything because the drywall work is,
Yeah.
And he looked at the ceiling and goes, "What the hell happened here?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "These need to be smooth. This is not tenement housing, Audra. These are luxury condos." And I was like, "What?" It was just, I had no idea. And he said, "No, no, 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 no. We are building beautiful things for people who care what it looks like." As I said, it would be like $6,000 more to smooth them or whatever it was. And it was like, that's ridiculous. This is what we're doing. And I just, okay. And I learned and I absorbed all of that and, went on to do things on my own, started doing kitchens and bathrooms and that kind of thing. But, interestingly, and I know all of you can relate to this, but I spent a lot of time feeling like I was in the wrong place. And I compared myself to everyone else. I wondered how these other successful contractors were doing it, who I just felt like I could never keep up with and I could never compete with. And they were getting my work and they were all having an easier time. And where were they getting trade partners that cost less? And how were my bids not competitive? And all of these, questions I had. And I felt very alone in doing that. And there was kind of a transition that happened around the same time that I met my husband, when I became more confident. And I think part of it was age. At that point I was in my 30s. And then I met my husband and he joined our company with me to support me in growing it. And so then I had a partner and that changed everything. And there was a point, I want to say shortly thereafter, maybe 1 or 2 years into that, when we were able to elevate what we were doing and to, like what Lisa was saying, elevate that experience for the clients, where I was no longer fighting with my clients and convincing them that they're wrong and that this is fine. And, why are you being so difficult? And it transitioned to dealing with clients who were grateful, who were excited that we were having a good time with. And I just remember at that point kind of being like, I think I finally made it. I think I finally got here, because I had so much doubt for so many years before that, and finally realizing like we're creating something that not a lot of people know how to create, and creating experiences for people, and it's good for them and it's good for us. And it was like, okay, like now we're finally to, I guess what I had imagined for all of those years, but I wasn't sure how to make it happen.
What's interesting is like the growth that you have gone through, because in our 20s, we have no idea. And when we're first starting out, like you don't know what you don't know. Right. And even shit now, like I'm 45, I still don't, there's, I still have moments like that, a lot of moments like that. But so like coming up in the business, so it's interesting, like just the difference in stories, but like they're still very much the same. Like you still have those moments where you're like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. That's right. Yeah. So staying with that growth theme, Lisa, is there a decision that you've made in the past year that has significantly moved either you personally or your business forward?
100%. And that decision was for me to do less, to be less involved. So we have hired 2 project developers. We've grown a lot. Actually, we've done a lot of hiring. But hands down, the best decision was to delegate. I mean, you hear it all the time, right? Like, you got to get out of that day-to-day doer role and start to become more of the business owner, and stop being that operator in the weeds all the time, and really push for things and be the visionary and all that. And I was like, oh, that sounds cute. That's never happening. I need to do all these things because no one is going to do them better than me.
Who's going to do them better than me?
No one.
No one.
Except for now, the 2 people that I hired.
I mean, like the dishwasher. Nobody's going to load the dishwasher better than me. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's not talk about the dishwasher. That's a whole nother. I'm always like, how can you do so many beautiful things and you can't load a dishwasher? But yeah, that was it. I mean, I brought in 2 project developers, Liz and Laura. I've known Liz she comes from way back my agency days. And I was like, I know the type of person I want to bring in. And by the way, neither one of them came in with construction experience. Basically, all my team come in. I look for different traits. And it's great if you happen to have background in remodeling or construction, but it's not a requirement. I said to them today, I was like, yeah, Derek and I were talking about it and said, we can't ever lose these 2 ladies. Whatever we do to keep them happy, they're wonderful. And so I have been able to delegate, that portion of my role, which has given me so much freedom to build the business.
Yeah.
Right? There's still more to do. There's still more delegation, but that was by far the most impactful thing. Like, I was my own roadblock for years, being so, I don't know, I was a pain in the ass about who was going to be touching anything that was my responsibility. I just wasn't going to allow it to happen. No one can do my job as good as I can do. And
but it's
now
also your name on the business.
It is.
Like, it's your name.
Yeah, it is. So it's one of those, It's been that, but I have 2 people now who are as committed to delivering on what we deliver as I am. I mean, honestly, both of them sometimes are doing more. I'm like, oh my God, how do they get all this stuff done? I'm like, they are true ambassadors of our brand. And I could not ask for any more than that.
That's something that Audra and I talked about, like, at length when we were at the retreat last. Like, just because how hard it is to let go of things.
Yeah.
But 2, like, what a difference it makes when you finally do.
Yeah. 100%.
Because then you have space. You just have space. Emily, same question.
I have to echo the same answer. I'm sitting here like, okay, what else? But in the last year, we have made all of our hires, or year and a half, I guess. We hired a helper first, and then we hired another superintendent, and then we hired my husband, who helps us with selections in the office. And 100% it's hiring, because for so many years, it was just Lori, Jack, and I. It's like trying to keep our head above water. If it needs to get done, we'll figure it out ourselves. It worked, until it didn't. And we were just constantly switching gears. We were maxed out, and the stress was just causing us to be a little bit more negative. And then joining our remodelers mastermind group really helped us to figure out what we needed to focus on and what we need to figure out were our biggest needs. So in the last year and a half, we brought on 3 new employees and a half of an employee. She is part-time, but she does our bookkeeping. And before, I was doing the books. And so it has felt so huge for us and scary a little bit, but it's leveled us up completely. We're not trying to wear all the hats. We're still trying to figure out roles and who's supposed to do what. It's still that new for us, but we've been able to divide our time and responsibilities so people can do what they are strong at doing, and because of that, we've, it's freed me up to be able to create better processes, and we're actually following them now, which is great, instead of just creating them and not using them. The communication is great. The jobs are organized, and that makes everybody, I think, have a better experience. So instead of us trying to push through and muscle through, doing everything ourselves, it's just given us more structure, and it's just made us, I think, enjoy what we do a little bit better. I mean, we're still working through it. We could probably hire 4 more people, but we are where we are right now, and it's working for us. So
Michael and I talk about that a lot. We talk about like, what's our unique ability and how can we focus on that unique ability and outsource the rest? Because, like there are things that we're really good at and there are things we try to be really good at, and it's just wasted energy, honestly.
Right.
Yeah. So putting the right people in those roles is pivotal. It wouldn't be a conversation with 5 women in like our phase of life if we didn't acknowledge the role that motherhood plays in, being a professional, being a business owner, being just a woman, right? And how it has changed the way you interact in the workplace, but also how you lead. So what part of being a mom has made you a better business owner? Lori, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I have like a roundabout answer for this one because I'm the oldest sibling, the oldest cousin. I've always been a managerial type. So for me, my leadership and the things that led me to be a business owner kind of like helped me be a better mom, I think. It's sort of like the flip of your question because I love teaching people to be better and to like become it's sort of like explaining why you're going to be happier when you do it right the first time, all those things that you learn as being a manager and a big sister or the oldest cousin or whatever. I just can't help but be that person whenever I'm in any situation. So I feel like all of that has led me to be a better mom because I can trust our daughter to take what I've shown her and what she's learned, and she goes off and she does it. And I'm so impressed. She's 14 now. So she's like off on her own and she's really going out and doing it. And it's so cool to see. I feel like my experience as a manager, as a leader, as a business owner has helped me be a better mom, actually. So
just a heads up, I'm going to change a little bit. And Lisa and Audra, I'm going to have you answer the same question after Emily. So if you want to, I like this question.
It's a good question. It's a hard question. I was like,
it's a hard question because as I'm thinking about it, like I'm just thinking through my answer too, because I'm not answering it, but like just thinking through, and really the women listening, like our audience here is primarily women in our like this age group, and we're moms, and this is something that everyone can relate to, and so I think it's an important conversation to have. Emily, same question.
I got switched up.
No. Yeah. I'm sorry, Audra.
That's okay.
Audra, you're next.
Okay. I can handle Emily. It's okay.
Throw the outline out the window.
Like, wait a minute. I wasn't prepared.
I think that the biggest surprise to me in having kids. So I got stepkids first, and then I had a little boy shortly thereafter. And so becoming a stepmom was interesting in so many ways because I met these girls when they were little but becoming big. I didn't know them as babies. I didn't raise them, and I only had them half the time. So when my husband and I married, we had the kids 50% of the time, and so we had a lot of that other time. But that at that time there was a big transition for me in paying more attention to work-life balance, and prioritizing differently, because I had always believed before this that you really can't be a successful business owner and be a mom. I just didn't see how it was possible. The women I knew who had kids, it was just like, I don't even know how you do that. I don't think I could ever. And so I learned in, I guess, kind of a slow curve, becoming a step parent, that it can be done, And then I had a baby. My baby is now almost 4. And when that happened, it was like maternity leave, it was just my husband and I at the time, it was just the two of us and a part-time employee who also had a baby at the exact same time as me. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to take a couple weeks off, and then, I got to come back. And I really started to learn then how to just figure out what I want and then do that. And that was what happened. I didn't have to make myself come back to work before I was ready. After 2 weeks, I was ready to lead my business, but I wasn't ready to leave my baby at home or to go back full time or whatever. And so I got a part-time nanny, and I had her come in between the naps and, whatever. And so it started out just kind of, I was just peeking in on things. It happened. My son was born in the slowest month of the year for us, which, I don't think there are any coincidences in life. So that worked out really nicely. But I eased my way back into this. And now I have such a better sense of balance and what's really important in life. Like I have no problem. Like the whole thing can be burning down at the office. And it's like, I got to go home. I got to go home and feed these kids, and this will be here tomorrow. And these people will survive until I get back, and just kind of learning how to do that differently and not allowing my work emergencies to like ruin my life because you just don't have the capacity for it. You can do that, but you're going to collapse quickly under the pressure between work and home. So I think I've become a lot calmer of a business owner and a leader in general because I've just learned that, hey, look, you can add 100% more to this mix and still be just fine and make room and make it work. And everything is going to be fine as long as you're being responsible and doing what you need to do and being accountable to everyone in the proportion that you owe them accountability. So I think that has changed me profoundly. And I don't think that I would be able to really enjoy my life now the way that I do if I didn't have kids. Mm-hmm. So that, means a lot to me. And it also gives me a profound amount of compassion for women who work for me, women who are part of my business, and also others, who I know, women who are my friends or who I know, in the industry, all of that, where, I understand this hierarchy of importance. And I think it's just made me a softer person. Like I'm just, I'm not as like laser focused on the success and on the money and on the books and all of those things are still important. And interestingly, they're going better than ever. So, but it's softened me in a way that I think I'm a more empathetic and compassionate person in general. And definitely I have a kinder spirit toward myself and other women, both in and out of the industry.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I have a 26-year-old, so I've been a mom forever. But I remember when I worked in corporate and when the kids would get sick and Michael couldn't take off because he had to be in the field and he had, crews that he had to take care of. And there was just this impossible question of what do I do with these kids? Do I bring them to the office sick because I can't miss a day of work, or do I like do the unthinkable and miss a day of work? And I remember like leaving that environment and just thinking, I will never, ever put that pressure and hold another person to that standard because it is absolutely impossible. And so, so like the empathy is just from experiencing that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it too, Heather. It's like, I'll never do that to someone. No, it's just a matter of being like a human, a
human.
That,
like, just like a decent.
You understand like that these things come up and there's only one option, and that is you have to care for your child. Mm-hmm. And whatever that looks like. And it can be different, and my only employee having a baby at the same time as me, like that was a major learning curve for both of us. And it was awesome in like every way, our kids are best friends now because we ended up getting a nanny for the two of them, so she could come to work and we both could be around our kids. And, when they were babies, it was golden. It was the best scenario. And, but if I had never had that experience or was still working in that corporate environment, it would never even occurred to me to think of something like that,
Yeah. Lisa, how about you?
There's like so many now. I feel like I'm like, yes, Audra, that point.
That too.
That too. But I think that being a mom has, and then kind of transferring that knowledge, the skills, if you will, into business. One of the major things has just been like, just how to deal with all of the emotional work that needs to be done, right? Like, and being able to stand outside of it. Okay. So like lots of times I feel like we're in positions and there's stuff that's happening and it's very emotional. You might have a mistake on the job site. Something happened, right? And you got to go there and figure it out. Well, the people you got to talk to who just made the mistake, they don't want to have made the mistake, right? So like you got to confront them on the mistake And that's going to go one way or the other, depending on the person that's standing in front of you. And sometimes it's kind of like you might be dealing with your 5-year-old toddler at that moment in time, and you got heavy, big emotions, right? Big emotions, and you got to help clear that out. And other times you get people who shut down, and then sometimes you get people who get really angry, and it's like you have to, and that's like what it's like with kids. Honestly, every one of them needs a different approach. Like I have a daughter who's definitely going to stomp her feet, slam the door. She runs hot and then she cools off, and then you can have a conversation. And that's just the way it's going to go. I have a son who is not, he internalizes it and does things a little bit differently. And the blow up comes later, but in the beginning he seems calm. And so I think that is like being able to figure out, how do I navigate this, and be able to kind of step back from and separate yourself a bit. And it's hard because you have emotions too. But I think 99% of the work of a leader or business owner is really the emotional work. I mean, yeah, we're like typing stuff on the computer and we're telling people to do things, but we're literally dealing with people and the entire weight of their lives throughout the entire day. And then you multiply that by your clients. And I think there's really no better micro experience of that than being a mom. Mm-hmm. And that's, 99% of the women on my team are moms as well too. And like, to build off what Audra said, like that's almost like a bonus point when I'm talking to people, because I know we're like, oh yeah, we've had this shared experience without even talking about it. I don't have to micromanage these women. They can take the day off to go get the doctor's appointment. They can leave because their kid's sick, puking everywhere. Like, I know the work's getting done. I know it's going to be quality. I know it's going to be on time. There is nothing I need to worry about because we just make it happen. So it's like those two things, those two real things, being a mom has really allowed me to bring that into my leadership style and my ability to run the business. It's like, okay, game on. Anything goes, and I need to be able to navigate it.
Yeah. All of those things.
Yes.
Emily, you want to answer?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Throwing everybody a curveball.
You threw me a curveball. No, I think I really, going back to, what I originally was thinking, is just empathy. Like it's being able to roll with the punches. It's, one thing I had said, we had hired, 3.5 employees this year, and we don't have a lot of stipulations for them. We're a small business, but we don't have a structured number of PTO days. We're very flexible because we understand, and it's worked to our favor so far. I mean, I know that, with a growing business, if you have tons of employees, that may not be the best idea, but for us, it works. And I think us being a family business, we're all just so empathetic about what other people are going through. We know that everybody's life changes every minute of every day. I mean, as soon as we finish up this podcast, my sister's running over here to grab my son to take him to a swim meet for her daughter. And it's just constantly changing. So I think part of it too is planning. I mean, as a mom, you have to plan. It's helped me be a good business owner, business leader, because we have to think about what's happening next. So being a mom brings just so many things to me. That's why I think women are such good leaders and such good business owners, and should probably rule the world, but take what we can get.
Yeah. No, that's right. All of those things are right. So just in the interest of time, because I know a couple of us have a hard stop, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to thank all of you for joining me on this today. For the listeners, I'm going to have all of their information, their websites, in the show notes. So if you heard them and if you would like to reach out to any of these ladies for any reason, you'll have a website that you can reference, including if you need work done, if you were in one of their service areas. Girls, thank you so much for doing this with me. This was a lot of fun. And this was honestly an honor for me to have you join me.
You make it look easy, Heather.
Yeah, you do.
I would say any excuse for this group of women to get together, we're all in.
I'm gonna be totally honest. When I texted Kyle, when I found out Lisa was coming back, I texted Kyle and I was like, "Is this true? Is this happening?" And he was like, "We're outnumbered." I was like, "This is fabulous." So this is a good group of girls. Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
All right. Thank you. And to the listeners, thank you for listening. And until next time. That's it for this episode. If you had fun, learned something, or just feel a little less alone in the chaos, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want to keep the conversation going, come find me on Instagram at @HeatherMoves_, because midlife is way more fun when we do it together. Until next time, keep moving forward, or at least keep moving. See ya.